Hello, welcome to Unmatched Styles Podcast. We're at the In Control Conference in Orlando. We're here talking with Daniel Burka. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Well, I've been wanting to talk to you for a while because I know you've left Dig about a year ago to go to TinySpec.
That's right.
What are you doing at TinySpec?
So at TinySpec, I'm the director of design. So what we're doing is we're building a game, a massively multiplayer online game in the browser called the Glitch, and I'm largely responsible for the interactions and for the Chrome in the game as well. The game's kind of a combination of more traditional website as well as a client. You know, the major part of the game's in the client, which is Flash-based, and so I'm building the Chrome and the interactional elements inside the client.
I was confused about that a little bit. I read the description on the site, and I didn't know how much of the site was actually HTML, traditional interface stuff, and how much it was going to be Flash. So
right. So the game world itself is built in Flash, and well, I think we're really pushing the limits of what even Flash can do for some of the stuff we're doing, because we're talking about a huge population within one world, and so we had discussed building it in HTML5 or something, but at the moment it's not technically possible to do that.
Yeah. So what makes Glitch different than other online games?
Glitch is different in a number of ways. One is it's one world. And so we're not sharding, so it's going to be one massive world. It's non-combative, and so it's all non-combat based interactions with other players. And it's also unusual in the massively multiplayer online game realm that it's two-dimensional. So it's a platformer in the way that Super Mario Brothers is a platformer.
Okay, that's interesting.
So when I describe Glitch, my elevator pitch for Glitch is it's Super Mario Brothers meets World of Warcraft with a huge swirl of Dr. Zeus.
Okay.
And so I think some of the tone of Glitch is also unusual. It's somewhat more intellectual, so we are not afraid to use big words and to be cynical and sarcastic and to be kind of obtuse, intentionally obtuse in some.
I read something about eggplant.
Oh yes, there's an eggplant where you grow eggs, and you need to, these eggs obviously to make certain, other things like hearty sandwiches.
Gotcha.
And so, as one does.
Right, very fun.
When you mix it with butterfly milk.
Well,
it's an unusual thing to be building. Yeah.
Nice. Well, we just listened to your talk, and you mostly talked about building fun into your web apps. So you were applying that game sort of design to web apps and websites and things like that. You sort of talked about Web 2.0 like, mockingly, like this is gone, we don't worry about it.
But not gone. I mean, the beautiful thing about not talking about Web 2.0 anymore is that it's just so accepted. It's like I really love the quote that technology is the name we use for things that don't work yet. Right, and so we don't call a telephone, normal telephone, a technology because it just works all the time.
That's right.
And so it's the same way that we don't call websites social anymore, as we once did, because most websites are now social.
It's kind of have
taken for granted.
Right. Yeah. So do you see the next sort of evolution of that? People applying this game design on top of these web apps? I
think so, but I think at the same. On the one hand, yes, but I think a lot of people right now are describing games and they're getting really excited about games, and that's great, and the word gamification is bounced around a lot. But what people are talking about, they're saying things like, I'll walk into the DMV and it'll be just like a game, and when I check in, it's like plus 5 XP points, and then I do something wrong, I growl at somebody in line, it's like -5 mood, and they're very explicit about it being very gamey, right? But I don't think in reality we're going to see very many things that are so obviously games. I think we're going to see ideas taken from games used in ways that we don't think of as games, but they really are game type interactions. So when in my talk I was talking about using questing as a one idea for making your web application more interactive and compelling. And the example I brought up was LinkedIn, and LinkedIn has that progress meter, and they've got a set of possible tasks that you can do to increase the progress meter. That is a quest. But you don't hear people, LinkedIn's a game, right? I mean, LinkedIn's a serious website that serious people use. They don't want to use games, but the game element there works very, very well. I think we'll see that used to a very high degree.
Right, and really what you're talking is satisfaction, right? You're talking about building that loop so that people are made happy while they use their app.
Absolutely. And they can be used in numerous ways. One of them is to make people happy and feel like they're and to build trust. You're doing the right thing, you're headed in the right direction. They can also be used for negative things. That's not how the rules in the system work.
Right.
That's not a good behavior. Or you got the password wrong. Here's how you enter the correct password.
Right.
So you can use it, in multiple ways. Those kinds of feedback loops.
That's I think there's a speaker here later, Aaron Walter. He talks a lot about emotional web design or building for emotion. So is that something that you got into specifically because you started working on Glitch, or is it something you've just kind of always been bubbling up under the surface?
I think I'm more interested in it explicitly after working on Glitch.
Okay.
I think what's happened when I was working on this game is that I was fairly interested in these things, building web apps, right? But then I got into a game, and you start realizing that you've got so much more in your toolkit, particularly building in Flash, right? But many of the things that you can do in Flash are now available using JavaScript and CSS3. Right. And I was designing, for instance, like really early when I started at Glitch, I was designing the interaction for when you pick up an item, right, in the game. So you're walking along a street and you see a bowl of porridge sitting on the ground, and as one does, one wants to pick up this bowl of porridge off the ground and put it in your backpack, right? I know it sounds a little silly, but that's a common
Sure.
thing you do in the game. And my initial reaction was, okay, you just pick it up and it pops up in your pack. That's simple. But really, we ended up that it kind of flies in an arc and then hits your pack and then shakes a little bit. And that sounds like we're just doing it to be fun, right? Goofy
Right.
games, we want to be
Right.
as silly as possible. But really, that interaction guides your eye that it started here, which is where your eye was originally, and guides your eye to where it's going to show up, because there's many slots in your backpack. It's like, okay, it went over to the right side of my backpack, so when I want to find it later, it's over there. And there's a little shake when it hits your pack, makes you feel satisfied that it's got permanence. You actually picked it up, and it's now sitting in your pack.
Has weight. Yeah.
And so this is, I was doing this for a Toast for a web application the other day on our site. So Toast is a little message that comes out of the bottom of your screen, like toast coming out of the toaster, right? And I was actually making the toast using CSS3 animations, and I can actually make it shake like that. And it feels really good. It comes up, it shakes, and then, okay, it's there for a second, and you feel like, okay, it's not going to disappear on me right away, and then it fades away 5 seconds later.
Wow.
And that feels, it's a better interaction. It's not just a more fun interaction, it's a better interaction.
So how much are you actually doing hands-on? Like, I know you're designing, but you're actually writing the CSS?
So in the game client, it's obviously in Flash. So I'm not an ActionScript developer or a Flash developer. Unfortunately, this is at such a high level that I don't think I could get into it very quickly. So I'm actually doing some of this. I'm mocking up in CSS3 because that's something I'm very experienced with. And so I'll actually show the interaction to the Flash guy I'm working with and say, I want it to work like this, and he can replicate it. But on the website part itself, I'm writing all the CSS and the HTML for that.
That's great.
I miss the days I'm not coding.
Yeah.
Oh my God, coding feels so good.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I can't wait to play Glitch. Are we going to get to know when it comes out?
It should be coming out in, it's out now in alpha form, and we should go into beta, which means it'll be open all of the time, so 24 hours a day in the next month or two.
Awesome.
And go sign up at glitch.com, and you'll get an invite.
Can't wait.
That's
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you for having me.